The lights of Los Angeles had never felt so bright. For Joshua Ramirez, stepping onto that massive AGT stage felt like stepping into a dream that wasn't his alone. It belonged to a man who spent his life with a hammer in one hand and a melody in his heart. Joshua grew up in Cebu, Philippines, in a one-room house made of bamboo and rusted tin sheets. The sea wind would whistle through the cracks at night, and sometimes, that was the only lullaby they had. His father, Manuel, worked as a carpenter, building other people's homes while never having the money to fix his own. But every evening, when the sun dipped into the horizon, Manuel would hum an old love song, one he had written for his wife before she died. Joshua would sit beside him, tapping a stick on an empty paint can, pretending it was a drum. Those were the happiest moments of his childhood. When Joshua was 9, his father carved a tiny wooden guitar out of scrap wood. It had only 3 strings, but to Joshua, it felt like treasure. His father told him, "Music doesn't need perfection, son. It just needs truth." That became the lesson of his life. Years passed. Poverty never left them. Joshua dropped out of school at 14 to help his father on construction sites. They worked long hours under the blistering sun, earning just enough to buy rice and dried fish. Still, at night, they sang. They sang because it made them forget how hard life was. But one stormy evening changed everything. A typhoon struck their small town. The rain was fierce, and the wind tore apart roofs like paper. Their home collapsed. In the chaos, a beam fell, and Manuel pushed Joshua out of the way, saving his son's life but losing his own. Joshua screamed for help, but it was too late. His father's final words echoed through the thunder, "Don't stop singing, my boy. Promise me." After the storm, Joshua sat among the ruins with that broken wooden guitar. He played until his fingers bled, whispering the song his father used to hum. Neighbors listened. Some wept. That's when he decided, one day, the world would hear his father's song. But dreams cost money. And money was the one thing Joshua didn't have. He worked odd jobs, cleaning boats, carrying lumber, fixing broken fences, while singing at small bars for coins. Then one day, a tourist from America recorded him singing on the beach. The video went viral. Overnight, millions watched the poor carpenter's son singing with tears streaming down his face. Offers came in, but Joshua refused to leave until he could afford to rebuild his father's house. It took him 5 years. Then, with just $50 left in his pocket and his father's guitar packed in an old cloth bag, Joshua boarded a flight to Los Angeles. He had auditioned for America's Got Talent once before, years ago, but never made it past the producers. This time felt different. This time, he wasn't there for fame, he was there for a promise. When he stepped on that stage, Simon Cowell squinted at him. "Welcome back," Simon said. "I think I remember you. You're the young man from the Philippines, right?" Joshua nodded, smiling nervously. "Yes, sir. I came back because my father always believed I'd stand here again." The audience fell silent. Simon leaned forward. "And what will you sing for us today?" Joshua looked down at his wooden guitar. "It's a song I wrote after he passed away. It's called, 'The Hands That Built My Heart.'" The first strum was shaky, but his voice, raw, cracked, filled with every heartbreak he'd lived, silenced the room. "His hands were rough, but they built my dreams. He saw the world through holes in jeans. He carved my soul with wood and rain. And left his song to ease my pain." Halfway through, Joshua's voice broke. He paused, his hands trembling. The crowd held its breath. Simon's eyes softened. "Take your time," he whispered. Joshua closed his eyes and sang the final verse, a whisper, a cry, a prayer. "When I am gone, and you can't see, sing our song, and think of me." When he finished, there was no music, just silence. Then, a single clap from the back. Then another. Then the entire audience stood, tears streaming, shouting his name. Heidi Klum wiped her eyes. Sofia Vergara covered her mouth. And Simon, the man known for his steel heart, wiped a tear before anyone could see. I've been doing this show for a long time," Simon said softly. "But that was one of the most emotional performances I've ever seen. Your father would be proud." He reached for the golden buzzer. The confetti exploded. Joshua dropped to his knees, clutching the guitar, crying as golden paper rained down. It was everything he had dreamed of, and everything his father never got to see. But the story didn't end there. A week later, Joshua was invited to perform on live television. He decided to sing a different song, one his father never heard. But hours before the show, his guitar snapped in two. The crew offered to replace it, but Joshua refused. "If I can't play his guitar," he said, "then I'll sing without it." That night, he stood center stage with no instrument, no backup track, just his voice. The audience expected failure. Instead, he sang like he had the strength of 1,000 souls. It was raw, haunting, and more powerful than before. Even after the lights dimmed, no one moved. But fame has a price. Overnight, stories surfaced, tabloids claiming Joshua faked his poverty for sympathy. Others said the viral beach video was staged. He was heartbroken. The dream that once felt pure now felt poisoned. He almost quit the show. Then, one morning, he received a letter at his hotel. No sender name, just a note that read, "Joshua, I knew your father. He once fixed my broken fence and refused payment. He told me about you. You sing with the same honesty he had when he worked. Don't let the noise steal that from you, a friend." Joshua didn't know who sent it, but those words saved him. On the finals night, he sang again, not for the judges, not for the fame, but for that promise. The lights dimmed. He whispered into the mic, "For my father." The music began, slow, emotional, almost like a heartbeat. His song told the story of a man who built dreams from nothing, and a son who carried those dreams to the biggest stage in the world. When he finished, Simon Cowell stood up, not clapping, just standing, eyes wet, lips trembling. Then, he said words that made everyone in the room gasp. "You didn't just make me cry, Joshua. You reminded me why I love music. It's not about money, fame, or perfection, it's about truth. You've given us that tonight." The crowd erupted. Golden confetti filled the air again as Joshua smiled through tears. In that moment, it wasn't about winning or losing, it was about coming full circle. The carpenter's son had built something far greater than a house, he had built hope. Weeks later, Joshua didn't win the competition, but his final performance reached millions. People across America wrote to him, sending messages like, "Your father's song healed me," and, "I lost my dad too, and your story gave me peace." Joshua used the prize money he earned from his live shows to build a small music school in Cebu, naming it the Carpenter's Sound, where poor kids could learn to sing for free. Above the entrance hung a simple wooden sign carved with his father's words, "Music doesn't need perfection, it just needs truth." Years later, when Joshua returned to AGT as a guest performer, he brought with him a group of those children. They sang together on stage, holding hands, voices blending like waves on the shore. Simon smiled proudly from the judges' table. "Full circle," he said softly. Joshua nodded, looking up toward the lights as if his father were watching. And in that golden glow, it almost felt like he was.